Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Inside the Circle. We have been joined by, can he be described as a superstar of the sport? You may know him from clubs as KFC Dragons in Belgium. International stats are through the roof with 402 caps and 48 goals. The achievements internationally is again massive. Silver medals in Rio in 2016, a gold in the World Cup in 2018, gold in the European Championships in 2019, and then finally the gold medal in Tokyo. After that, we got a bronze medal in the Euro Hockey Championships and a silver in the World Cup in 2023. Notable achievements: he became the Dragons captain in 2013, and he captained them for the Tokyo Games onwards. He studied at the University of Antwerp. He is a prominent Red Bull athlete and is the co-owner of Naked Hockey. Please welcome to the podcast all-round hockey legend and the coolest man on the hockey pitch, Felix Denayer.
What a fantastic introduction. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for joining us. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing quite well, to be honest. Life's treating me well. So it is an interesting crossroad, however, because not so long ago, post Paris, I announced that I would retire from international hockey, which is
Yes.
still a bit special, obviously, because like you mentioned, it's been an incredible ride. But at the moment, the feeling is that it's time for a new challenge. So I'm especially grateful for what I've lived, and thanks to all those experiences and the incredible journey that also made me the man I'm today. So it's been fantastic, and thanks again for the invite. Looking forward to go through the journey together with you.
Absolutely. Yeah, look, going on that, 402 games for Belgium. That is impressive. It is certainly impressive. It's a silly question because I probably already know the answer to it. What's been your favorite moment playing for Belgium?
Oh, there were so many. Um, And if you go through the journey, I think what I like to talk about when I talk with other athletes or when I talk about the journey, I think as an individual, you always start with a
Hmm.
dream, then you train like an athlete to try to become a role model, and you hope to live with a certain legacy. And so when you go through those different phases, I think obviously the first moment is the first time you get to wear the shirt of the national team is something very, very special. And today it comes with a philosophy: leave the shirt in a better place. So it's immense privilege to be able to represent your country. But the moment you also get it, we say you have a shared responsibility to add value to the shirt before you hand it over to the next generation. And so from the first moment I got it, it was kind of um, something I always aspired
Hmm.
to. And now, more than 15 years later, it's time for me to hand it over. And I think we were able to add some value to it. And I think that's probably yeah, the biggest achievement from this generation. And hopefully, we also left it in a better place, which means that it's not only the titles and the successes, but also the platform that will give the next generation also the opportunity to realize their dreams.
Yeah.
And through the journey, obviously, living the treble, because we had different phases with Belgium hockey. We said at the start we want to close the gap with the best in the world because we didn't have a long history of going to the Olympics, for
Yeah.
example. So before 2007, which was the European Cup in
Hmm.
Manchester, we didn't qualify for more than 30 years for the Olympics. And so there it was kind of a miracle of
Yeah.
Manchester, a tipping point for us. And then we were back into the Olympics. We achieved the dream to be part again of the biggest show on earth. And then from there we started building. And then 4 years later it was keep the flame burning because we had a bit of momentum. It was important to go back to the Olympics to get challenged by the best, to improve. Then we became fifth. We were ninth in the world, became fifth. Top 8 is an Olympic certificate. We were quite happy with the result, but on the other hand, we were like, maybe we should have believed in our dream a bit more, be a bit more ambitious from the start. Maybe we missed an opportunity to play for the medals. And so, 4 years later, we tried to push to the podium, and it was fantastic to see that we won the silver medal. But then we kind of got the name the Silver Generation because we lost 6 finals in a row. And then the question was, can we really push outside that comfort zone and go from good to great to
Hmm.
gold? That was what we tried to do. And it was incredible to be able to win the World Cup, the Euros on home soil, and then the
Yeah.
Olympics. And then after that, we have the fifth cycle, which was trying to go from a winning team to a winning culture. Can we also make the success of Belgium hockey constant in time? And so, yeah, it's in a nutshell, it's been quite an interesting
It,
ride.
it it definitely has, and like you mentioned there, that sort of silver generation where you just come in second on world stages a few times. Was that, looking at that, did that make then, obviously then it made the gold in Tokyo that good bit better, but do you think if you didn't have that period of silver medals, that gold mightn't have come or might have come later
For
on?
sure. Yeah, for sure. I think there are two things. So the first thing is, imagine we would have won gold in Rio, then maybe we wouldn't have had the drive to continue that
Yeah.
progress, and we probably it wouldn't have been possible for us to win the three in a
Hmm.
row. So sometimes our coaching staff says that might have been our biggest
Yeah.
gift to not win it in Rio. Um, and by saying that, I think what was quite interesting in the development of our team is that what we try to do from an early stage is look at the best teams in the world and try to learn as much as possible from them, and also take certain
Hmm.
things from them. So I would say the physicality of Australia when they were super
Hmm.
dominant, the structure and the discipline from the Germans, the hands and the speed from the Dutch, and so on. So you can learn from a lot of different cultures, which is interesting. But I suppose that the moment we arrived, like we were number 5 in the world, and we had the dream to one day achieve something on a big
Hmm.
stage, we were trying to beat those competitive competitors at their
Yeah.
game. And that was interesting because at a certain moment we are asked ourselves a question, what is actually our playing style, our identity, our DNA, and how can we said turn our strengths in superpowers and create that own playing Belgian playing style. And I think that was something that was necessary to take that final step.
Absolutely. And look, it was a great match to watch, coming down to the that gold medal match in Tokyo. Big empty stadiums.
Yeah.
That match, probably had the most atmosphere out of all the men's matches through the games. Just between, the two teams being different in style, and then coming down to that final, couple of run-ins to secure it. What was that like in an empty stadium? Did it still have the buzz around it of a finals of games, or was it a bit? I know it would have been great to have everybody there, or was it a bit disappointing?
I think we were so focused on our achieving our
Hmm.
dream that what was quite nice is that the sports was quite pure.
Yes.
It was really
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
hockey and no fuzz around it. Obviously, it was a shame because, to be honest, the infrastructure looked
Mm.
beautiful and would have been brilliant to have the whole stadium packed. And that was certainly something that we were looking for going into Paris, to have all the friends and family out there. But like you said, it was, I think, an incredible journey, and we were so focused on achieving that dream that we were really thinking about hockey mainly, and we felt that there was a lot of support from the other
Mhm.
side of the world and the home country. But it was true that it was kind of a clash of cultures. It was a fantastic game. I think we started quite well. Then Australia came back into it, and we had the shootouts. And then we thought we won it, but then there was a video
Hmm.
call. And then there was a retake, which obviously we went through a lot of different emotions. And then luckily we had the best goalie in the world.
Absolutely.
It's subjective, but we had Vincent Van Asch who saved the day and who got us that gold medal. And what I like to think about is we said because it was actually in a COVID
Hmm.
period, the Olympics got postponed for a year. And a year before, when we knew the games were postponed, I remember that we had a kind of a workshop or a team talk, and we said like, let's just put in the agenda. We know now when the final is going to be next
Hmm.
year. Put in your agenda the next day of the rest of your life, because it's going to be a new challenge to go one more
Hmm.
year. Because a lot of people underestimate what we
Uh,
sacrifice day to day to try to get in the yeah best possible shape to be able to perform. But it was really nice to kind of have that goal the first day of the rest of your life, and that's a bit what achieving that Olympic dream, Olympic gold medal is about. It's for the rest of your life, and it's I still get goosebumps talking about it. So it's and that will probably be for life.
good. That's well, it should be. Yeah, the extra year, the extra bit of hard work, it all paid off in the end, which is always great.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
Probably then. So the World Cup 2018, you just won it. What was that like then to come out to an absolute hero's welcome back in
Oh,
Belgium?
it was incredible. What was quite impressive is that our coaching staff always had obviously the ambition to win
Hmm.
something, because in Belgium history there was never a team in Olympic discipline that won
Yes.
a world championship. So it was kind of trying to write history and showing the country that something was
Hmm.
possible to achieve as a team. And what I always refer to, it was quite interesting, is that like 10 years before that moment, when you said you were playing hockey, then the first question would probably be like, where's the ice in
Yeah.
Belgium? So we came from a long way, and what was fantastic is that our staff always had a layered approach, which was trying to win something, but also what do you do when you
Hmm.
win something? What's the impact you want to have? And coming back after the World Cup win to Brussels, it was a Tuesday, random Tuesday. It was raining a bit. It was December, and so we were invited on the Brussels in Brussels on the big market
Hmm.
square. And when we arrived, nobody was there, and we were like, "Oh no, here we go again." But then we went in. And we had first an hour with the press and interviews and with stakeholders. But then after an hour or two, we were asked to go come outside, and then it was fantastic to see that the whole square was filled
Hmm.
with friends, family, fans, Belgian flags, and we say unity is our strength. To be able to bring people together and share our passion was yeah, something we couldn't even
Hmm.
believe. So what was great to see is that we also had an impact, and that we were able to inspire with the game we love, obviously, and that was maybe our biggest victory.
Absolutely. The scenes of that, I think it was covered almost everywhere. You guys coming out showing the trophy just to this sea of red in this square, and it was unbelievable to see. And as as a hockey player, back here going, that's a country that's absolutely
Mm,
throwing everything behind the fact that they're hockey players. Doesn't matter that it was hockey that won. It was just celebrating the fact that they've got this trophy, and it was just brilliant to see you know
mhm.
the sport on the map. And then you guys sort of that was it. That was your turning point of this sort of gold run, and it was amazing to see. So it was. Um, did you see from that point the likes of an uptake with more people starting to play hockey? back in Belgium then?
Yeah, definitely. Apparently, well, I don't know the numbers by heart, but over the last 10 years, I think we tripled in the amount of playing
Brilliant.
members, and you see that, yeah, it is. So it's fantastic to see whenever you drive around the city, you see more and more kids with a hockey stick on a bike, and it's just great to have. To be able to share that passion we have, obviously for the
Hmm.
game, but also, like I said, trying to inspire that the next kids that have a
Yeah,
dream, and it can be through hockey, but it's not necessarily only on the hockey pitch. It's just inspiring people that they should chase their dream. It's really difficult to
hmm,
achieve all your dreams, and it won't probably happen. But being able to chase them is also a
yeah,
privilege, and I think if we can share that, then yeah, we can have a bigger impact, and I think that's something we will try to continue to do.
good, good to hear. And then with playing in Belgium, obviously you play for Dragons. From what I could see, that's the only club really you've ever played for. Is that right? And
Yeah, that's right.
what like I know there's so many international athletes that want to go and play elsewhere and do things. Is it just because it's home and that's your club that you just decided to stay and want to keep playing for them?
Yeah, well, I'm a bit subjective, but for me, Dragons is the most beautiful club in the world. So that's certainly something I cherish a lot. I've been quite lucky to be able to start at such a fantastic
Hmm.
club, and also to be able to develop myself in an environment where everything was there:
Yeah.
the infrastructure, the people, the club, the federation, the top hockey, the team as
Hmm.
well, because we were quite lucky to have lived through an incredible, successful decade as well, where we won 7 titles. We had quite amazing runs in the EHL as
Yeah.
well. So I mean, I never really had a reason to leave as well, which helped. And it is true that at a certain moment I was looking around to see if there were other experiences
Hmm.
out there to develop myself as a player and as a person. But because we say better people make better athletes, and so I think it's always important to also develop yourself further as a person next to the athlete. And so it's certainly something that can add something to your
Hmm.
game. But for me, I always combine it with studies at university, for example. Then moving abroad, not abroad, but moving in with my girlfriend at the time, that is now my wife. Taking projects on and starting to work.
Hmm.
And so, again, it was always trying to combine different things together. And we had actually the international program changed quite a bit as well. It went from more training camps to part time to almost
Hmm.
full time program that was held in Belgium in quite
Hmm.
centrally. So it was also at a certain moment not really possible anymore to go far
Yes.
abroad. So and uh, and losing too much time in the car to go back and forward wasn't something I was ready to
Yeah.
sacrifice. So in the end, you can't do everything. I'm kind of a yes man, so I always look for opportunities to experience new
Hmm.
things. But at the same time, I'm really happy. I'm still a dragon,
Yeah.
and I will be for the rest of my life because my heart is red.
Very good. Yeah, that's again, I always like seeing, top athletes that just go, you know what, this is, I started here. This is the club that's given me so much, and it's worth staying. You can play elite level hockey right there. You don't
Mm.
need to go hunting around for it. It's right there. Family's there, your country's there.
Hmm.
Absolutely no point in moving. So I like seeing that sort of just, you know what, I'm staying here. I'm gonna commit to this club that's given me so much.
Yeah, exactly. And I also do believe that I received so much, so at a certain moment it's time to give back. And like I said, now I'm more kind of at the end of my career, like trying to leave a certain
Yeah.
legacy, and I think I really. So what for me? What is a legacy? It's what's yeah woven into the lives of
Mhm.
others. So it's not only the trophies, but especially trying to facilitate or support younger athletes that have that
Mhm.
dream, and making them believe they're also it's possible to achieve your dreams. So hopefully I can continue to add some of that experience to the young guns.
Yes, absolutely. And do you I see like you try and get involved with those younger, the younger teams as much as possible. Is that just something, again, that philosophy of just giving back as much as possible,
Mm.
that you just want to, again, just, if a camp's on or if the training session needs to be helped with, you're there and being that sort of head for those younger kids.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
trying. So it's certainly an ambition. Um, Obviously, you can't be there all
Yeah.
the time, but it's more like, again, wherever you go, try to add some positive
Hmm.
value before you leave again. And I think, well, we've been incredibly privileged to be able to live something unique. It would be a shame that this would be a one hit
Yeah.
wonder. So it would be fantastic, and I do believe that we have a lot of great hockey ambassadors in this
Hmm.
generation that are doing the same thing in their clubs in Belgium, but even outside of Belgium. Because in the end, for me, it's the hockey community is a fantastic community, and we are all connected through the game. So in the past, obviously, I was trying to, or we were trying to be the best in the
Hmm.
world with the Belgium shirts, but it's more about just adding value to the game that gave me so much. So it's even broader than only Belgium in itself, and it's so nice to be able to give back. So it's certainly something I will continue to do, and through different channels, I suppose. It can be coaching, mentorship. It can be through social
Yeah.
media, trying to increase the hockey product as well, because I think hockey in general has a lot to offer. I do believe there's some more opportunities to inspire people on and off the pitch. So I'm a sports fan at heart, and I also follow a lot of different sports. And like I said, I think we can benchmark ourselves as a hockey product also with different
Hmm.
sports. And I'm really looking forward to the future to see how we can deliver even a better product to the broader audience as well.
Yes, yeah, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing now in this new form of retirement how that goes. Um, was one of those things that you went, what, this is going to broaden the horizons of hockey. Was, becoming a Red Bull athlete. Was that something that you went, actually, through them we can, direct people maybe towards our sport a bit more? Is that something that was probably in your head, or was it just like, this is Red Bull and it's a fantastic opportunity?
Yeah, certainly. I think as a kid, I was, like I said, I was a sports
Mm.
enthusiast from a young age, and you saw that Red Bull athletes were doing amazing things, and it was certainly something I aspired to be, to become, and because I really like the philosophy of giving
Mhm.
wings, and it's more it's not only a product, it's more like a philosophy, and they literally supported me throughout whole my career, and they really literally supported me to achieve my
Mhm.
dreams, and it's certainly something I would also like to continue to do, and also give that opportunity to others, and hopefully I can also give some wings to people I encounter, and that would mean a lot. So yeah, Red Bull is certainly a part of me, and it's fantastic to see that a brand like that is also getting into a sport
Mhm.
like hockey, because they certainly are able to have an impact as well. So yeah, again, I was lucky enough that I got picked up really as a young
Hmm.
potential, and now it's really a kind of a partnership, and I feel like a Red Bull athlete for life as well.
Brilliant. And again, that leads quite nicely into, naked hockey and, becoming a co-owner with them and all the stuff that you've been able to achieve, with the sticks, with the
Mm.
brand. Again, a brand that started over here with a couple of guys to then, you becoming and becoming a bit more of the face to it. It's been such an amazing journey to see. Again, since it only started up the road from the shop here. Um, how did that all come about? And can you tell us a bit more about it? Really?
Yeah, yeah. Well, the first contact was quite interesting. I just got a text on Instagram, and it was quite short. We think you should get naked. But from then on, actually, we clicked quite quickly, and I always had the ambition to give something back to the sport I
Mhm.
love, and being able to really be involved in a brand was something that I got really
Yeah.
excited about. And from the start, I always thought the philosophy and the values of Naked, what we're trying to achieve, or at the moment they were trying to achieve, really matched well with my
Yeah.
person or with what I've been through. And so living life naked for me is kind of a philosophy really to yeah, live life in a certain way. And it goes from that philosophy into the brand, into the products, into the storytelling. So, for example, the logo with the cap I have on, it's yeah, the N for me is the symbol of ups and
Mhm.
downs. But when you're living ups and downs, you're really
Yeah.
living, and so you actually try to take the moments where you're going to a rough patch, because that's often actually the moments where you grow the most, when you learn and you create a new ability. And like, I really believe that, for example, your career is like a marathon, but you have to run it with the mindset of a sprinter. So again, the consistency of ups and
Yeah.
downs, and that again is the naked pattern, where you go through life and you experience life at 100%. And so it's fantastic to see that through a product, through a brand, you can also share a certain
Mhm.
philosophy in that experience you have. And that's been great from the start. And it's certainly exciting also for the future.
Absolutely. And so the stick that you use, um,
Ah, yeah.
what one is it to start off with?
To start off, well, it's the Flex OG, so the original gangster. There was a little reference to the Olympic Games as well, but we couldn't use that obviously. But everything about the stick has a story,
Mhm.
which is very personal, and I'm really proud of the end result. So the idea was that throughout my career, obviously hockey brought me a lot, and through the stick, I experienced different stories that added certain
Mhm.
value to myself as a person. And I actually wanted to create something where I could transfer that experience into people buying a
Yeah.
stick, and also not only a stick, but a certain story. And so we designed together with Naked a whole
Mhm.
pattern with all different icons, and every icon has a story and a lesson. And the idea was to make them kind of black and
Yeah.
white. Why? Because whenever you play with a stick, the idea is that you can learn from a certain blueprint, but you have to add color to your own game. So that was a bit and then it was great to see that Red Bull again as a partner gives
Mhm.
wings to the project, and together I think we created a fantastic product, and I'm really happy to be able to see it around the pitches in real life.
I think it's a brilliant looking stick, and then yeah, the more that you guys then came out saying about the different icons and what they all meant. It's a great stick, and the fact that it's in those two carbon points, the full and that 50% to allow more
Yeah.
people to then experience it. I think it's fantastic. With your specific stick that you use, do you have, I'll call it a setup? Is there a specific way you like your stick? Do you like it really light, head heavy, big grip,
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
like that?
Interesting. Well, sometimes I get the question, "What's the perfect
Yeah,
stick?" And it's a bit against our brand, but I don't think the perfect
yeah,
stick exists, and I'll elaborate on that because it's very
hmm
personal driven. And throughout my career, I tested a lot of different shapes, molds, weights, and depending on what impact you want to make as a player on the
hmm
pitch, the stick should support your skills.
yeah,
So very easily, if you want to throw big high balls from the back, obviously a bit more curve or a later ball in your stick will
hmm
help. If you're about the basics, the fundamentals of the game, a stick that is a bit heavier uh, will help you trap the ball and pass the ball
yeah,
better. And so it's kind of trying to look for the specifics that support your game the
hmm
best. And for me, I went to 36 and a half, 37 and a half, 38 and a half. So now I'm playing 38 and a half. I'm quite tall as well. So that works for me. I like um, Lobo
hmm
shape because it supports as a midfielder. It supports a lot of things. I love. I'm trying to be quite a complete
okay,
player that has its fundamentals down, but also can eliminate individuals, but can also has a passing
hmm
range. Because I do believe that you often start with a specific skill or a talent as a
yeah,
player, but when you're new in the hockey scene, that works. But the problem is if you stick to only one talent, players, teams get to know
yeah,
you, and you have to constantly try to learn and add certain things to your
hmm
game, because otherwise you become
very predictable.
how do you say that exactly? And so throughout my career, I always tried to do that. At a young age, for example, I was also drag flicking a lot, but then it was quite heavy on my
hmm
body. So first, I wanted to become a complete hockey player before going, yeah, up and down and getting injured too much. So I remember at the World Cup under 21, I was still like a drag flicker, but then it for me it was never my specialist skill.
Okay,
That's why also I don't play with the extreme bow, for
hmm
example. However, I do believe I have enough quality to also be a threat on top of the
yeah,
D. So again, it's kind to find that perfect balance. I personally like the balance point a bit lower.
okay,
I tried very heavy sticks, very light sticks. For me, too light is nice for dribbling, but I don't think it gives me the the specs I really want, because I think trapping the ball, especially as a
hmm
midfielder in certain pockets, and the first touch is so
hmm
crucial that for me you need a bit of weight in the head of the stick. Um, And then grip wise, that's also something I tested really small ones with thick ones. And again, it's kind of a balance, because with thick ones, I do believe it's better for your
hmm
fundamentals. It's a bit like golf when you're putting with a thick grip.
yes,
So now they then you have less movement in your putter, and it's similar to a hockey stick. But if it's too thick, again, for me, then the ball handling on small areas becomes a bit more
yes,
difficult. And then again, if you go too small, it's really nice for certain skills in small areas. But then, so what I tend to do is just have one main grip and then a chamois grip, and there again. I really like the RPU grips or like over
yes,
grips. But then when it rains, or actually when it's very, very hot, your sweat tends to drip down your hands, and your hand become quite sweaty and quite slippery as
Yeah.
well. And so there, I think a chamois grip is more versatile and more. It's better for changing weather
Yeah.
conditions. So again, it's sometimes it's also nice to switch around because then you start to understand what you really want out of your stick, and it's sometimes good to experience. I would advise, however, not to change too much when the closer you get to important
Yeah.
moments, important games, end of season, playoffs, big tournaments. Then you see sometimes uh, players start to change because probably there is a bit more pressure. But I believe that the more pressure there is, the more you have to go back to your
Yes.
habits and focus on like from spotlight go to a laser focus. And same with your gear. I think at that moment you have to trust your gear, and it has to become second nature almost. And you can't be thinking about your stick. It's almost like something that is part of you.
Hmm.
So yeah, I can probably talk a long time about how I would like to set up my stick.
Look, I'm happy with it. I find it so fascinating how, just like you said, every person that plays hockey is so different, and you know, uh, people come into the shop when they're going ask the exact same question. What's the best stick here? And you're going, well, I play with this, but I could hand you this, and you're not gonna like it, or you're gonna pick up a stick that you absolutely love, and the next person that walks in might go, why have you handed me this stick? So yeah, it's all so personal and different for everybody. But something that's definitely unique, probably to over here, is I would say most people would play with the chamois grip purely because our weather's shocking, and we
Yeah.
get quite a lot of rain.
That's quite similar with in Belgium. So
Yeah. So yeah, no, it's again, I always find it interesting, and that's why I like to ask that question of what how do you like your stick, and things like that. So yeah, it's interesting that the that slightly head heavier stick just allows you a bit more control then with that first touch, and especially as a midfielder where you're doing a lot of distribution of the ball.
no, exactly, and I think that's a skill that is
Mm,
underestimated. The first touch and footwork is something that is not talked about a
yeah.
lot. But you see that the best players in the world actually, we say, take the information before they get the ball. So the moment the ball comes to them, with their first touch, they're already actually a step
Mhm.
ahead. And because they keep that advantage, they're also able to dismantle pressure or eliminate through a receive. And they may often make it look
Mhm.
simple. And when you make things look simple, then actually you can really be dominant with your style of play, I believe.
Yeah. Has there been anyone that you've played against or played with that has just been even a different level to play, to play with or play against, just with their first touch or their ability to get past the players? Has there been anyone that stood out to you?
Oh, again, it's probably a bit similar to a
Yeah.
stick. I think every player can bring something
Hmm.
different, and you can learn from a lot of different players depending on what their special
Yeah.
skill is. So I don't think there is one perfect player. Again, I think that's the beauty of a team
Hmm.
sports as well, is that you can connect, and that, because now I say connect. My first games when I played against Spain, for
Hmm.
example, I really remember the trio up front. It was Pau Kamada, Santi Freixa, and Eddie
Yes.
Tubau. And those three were so different, but it was phenomenal to see them combine together. I really remember that as a
Mm.
young kid, like coming into the international scene. It was like half open receive, and bang, you got hit from a blind
Yeah.
spot from one of the three pressuring you, and then with speed they combined with the three of them, and before you know it, the ball was in. And so that was really impressive. But through the years, yeah, it was great to be able to get challenged by the best. And I can probably name, so many players that were have been impressive on different
Yeah.
levels. And what is also really interesting, whenever you start to play internationally, is the clash of
Hmm.
cultures. What I also really like. So we have a certain European style of playing, but obviously in Asia it's kind of different, where they have fantastic eye hand
Yeah.
coordination and incredible skills and
Hmm.
hands. And the first time you play against them, you kind of, they drive you crazy because you don't really know what to
Yeah.
expect. And it's so cool. Same with Australia. It's really I would say a very physical game. Try to make high transfers and just really over trying to overpower teams. And so in Argentina, I would say it's really more individual, like technical,
Hmm.
trying to change the pace of the game, like trying to feel like the pace slowing down, but then suddenly countering with a lot of fantastic skills. So it's been super exciting to be able to live through those experiences, and that's probably what fascinated me the most, is to continue to
Hmm.
improve, and I believe I still
Yeah.
do. So if you would just give me a stick and a ball and give me some time on the pitch, I would probably just enjoy myself with trying to develop different skills, different moves to make an impact. To the point that even some players are laughing at me when I'm trying to do something different, like hitting from backspace between the legs, or it's just stuff I like to experience
Hmm.
with, because sometimes you also come into a situation, especially in games, where you don't have time to
Yeah.
think, and it's kind of muscle memory, and then beautiful things can happen, especially with the fast-paced game that we have. And so it's trying to almost, train your muscle memory to be able to have the right reflexes at the right time.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. And the going back to the naked and the brand, how how involved are you with the designs of the sticks and how you want the sticks to feel as a
Mm.
collection? So obviously this year's collection was the let it rip and all of that.
Yeah.
Is that something that you come in at the start and go, right, this is the concept, and then we'll work it out from there?
Yeah, for sure. I really love actually the storytelling behind it, the philosophy that we're trying to do. So we said, like, especially as a team, as a person, often when you start to feel too
Mhm.
comfortable, that's probably some because you reached a certain
Yeah.
platform or like glass
Hmm.
ceiling, and then we say when everything seems under control, you're probably not going fast enough. It's like a racing track. Sometimes when you just like
Yeah.
cruising, it means you sometimes you really have to like go out of a corner and really crash to be able to see where your limits
Hmm.
are. And there's where the let it rip came from. And we always try to, with the collection, also convey a certain
Hmm.
philosophy. And so from the start, we think about a certain collection, and then we go into depth into the details, into what exactly do we want, what's the feedback of the customers as
Hmm.
well, because it's crucial. We really want to create something that supports the end user and the
Yeah.
players, not necessarily impose what we think is best. Obviously, we have some experience. That's why, for example, we sometimes play with the carbon percentage, or with the molds, or with a lot of different
Yeah.
aspects. And so that's great to see, to try to be able to also add value to the game through
Yeah.
naked. And that's something we're trying to do, and it's fantastic to be a part of from the start till finish, from sourcing till storytelling till branding, marketing, feedback from, and then continue to, like a player actually, as a brand, every time we're trying to
Hmm.
improve, even if it's only percentages. um, it's great to be part of that process.
Yeah, absolutely. And is has there has there been something as a player, um during the manufacturing, the start to the finish of doing a hockey stick that really surprised you as something that you don't think about? As you know, normally everyone just goes, "Ah, this is the stick," and don't think about the 90 million steps beforehand. Was there anything that really surprised you about
Mm.
it?
Well, it's probably something you don't really think
Mm.
about because as a young kid, you go to the shop and you're like, wow, for me, it was like a candy store. Like, and my parents always used to tell me like an hour or an hour and a half, come on, now you really have to
Yeah,
decide. I couldn't like, so I really have a great memory of going to the hockey shop when I was a kid. And so now it's really nice to be able to be involved in every
yeah,
detail. And what is interesting is as well is to see if we can even improve a lot of those
hmm,
things. But it's we always think that yeah, less is more. So we really want a sleek design because that's also something I really
hmm,
like. But details make the difference. And if you see, for example, on our sticks, we have the tomahawk zone where we called it the boom
yeah,
zone, and like it's small details like that makes me happy,
absolutely.
to be honest. So whenever I see somebody hit a tomahawk with a naked stick, I go like, yeah, boom zone, let's go. So yeah, and so now we're really trying to redefine a bit our sticks as well, and see if we can not necessarily add a lot of things, but maybe slightly change certain
Okay,
things to improve the end product, the design, the story, the value we can offer. So uh, we really believe that there's always room for improvement, and that's something we will try to continue to chase. Is that
yeah,
perfection? And maybe we will catch excellence at a certain moment.
absolutely. And it would be silly not to mention the fact that you used then the Mizuno shoes as well. Um,
Mm.
again, what do you like about them? I think they're a really good
Mm.
hockey shoe. From grip to support to the upper, I think they've done really well in designing a really good hockey specific shoe. Is that something again that drew you towards them?
Yeah, for sure. And again, there as well, I had run my whole career. I tested a lot of different
Hmm.
shoes. I even played on trail shoes at a certain moment to see if that could bring me something. That was really nice for running straight lines, but not as good as
Hmm.
turning. And also, the shoe weren't really designed to wear well.
Yes.
So it's and I have to say with the Mizuno shoes I'm playing now, and also again their philosophy is something I really like because, for example, the first shoe they brought out, it was really
Hmm.
comfortable, and then we had different discussions because they do um, ask their athletes what they think about the shoes and where the improvements can be, and then I said like I would love to think about a training shoe and then a
Hmm.
performance shoe, and then the training shoe is a bit more comfortable, a bit thicker, but a bit more um, yeah, gives the comfort, and especially probably also a bit better for the body and for the longer
Yeah.
term. And then I said what would be interesting is to see if we can develop a shoe that is even
Hmm.
lighter, which I think is maybe a bit more performance driven because they said, yeah, for you, you like it, but maybe the general public likes a bit more protection, for
Hmm.
example, and the lighter you make it, the less you have the
Yes.
protection. I said, like, yeah, during a game, I don't care about the protection, even if I only win 1
Yeah.
milligram, it will probably help me. So I really am a performance mindset, and it was fantastic to see that they now also came up with that new
Hmm.
shoe that is a bit lighter. So now they're really trying to also support athletes at different levels, and so I've been really happy with their end product.
Oh, yes. And like I said, I think they're the that Panthera shoe, that more built up one, is yeah, it's perfect for that constant need for support. But then yeah, the leopard is that lighter one.
Yeah,
When people put it on, they go, this is it's probably, I think probably one of the lightest that we have or on the market anyway. So yeah, when people just want the light shoe, that's what we give them, and then the fact that it is so well designed is even better.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
And look, I really do appreciate your time, and I'll not keep you anymore. The busy life of a retired hockey player is calling. So I've one more question, and I've asked it to everybody that's been on. Before training or before a match, how do you put your socks and shoes on? Do you go sock sock
Mm.
shoe shoe or sock shoe sock shoe?
In the past, as a young kid, I had a lot of
Mm-hmm.
rituals. Like I had to de-sock first, and then first a training shirt, and then really my proper shirt, and then tape left, tape right, and I mean the older you get, the less you have those
Mm-hmm.
rituals. So now I'm quite relaxed. I would say first socks and
Oh,
then
good.
shoes.
Happy days.
Yeah, yeah. But what is nice about rituals, and that's maybe something as a little advice as well, it's not something probably you don't have to have too
Mm-hmm.
much or too many, sorry. Because, for example, if you say, when I drive to the game and I really have to have that green
Mm-hmm.
light, and that's intersect, because if I don't, we will lose. That's probably not a good
Mm-hmm.
ritual. But having certain rituals isn't bad, especially for top games, because for me, it's it's like preparing your body for
Yeah.
battle, and also mentally trying to start thinking about the game and visualizing. And that's why I always had certain rituals for important games. And from a young age, for example, I had the tradition of putting my legs up and
Mm-hmm.
circulating the blood, but also having a kind of a mindful moment of thinking about the game, relaxing, a bit of reading or a bit of music, and visualizing the
Mm-hmm.
game, and trying to really put all the stress and the pressure away. And then the moment you start dressing up, and then the pressure will come gradually, and then that's a certain thing. And then yeah, the guys, the club always laugh when I come in with the Red Bull and a banana, because they always said like, yeah, that's kind of another a ritual or tradition. And so I still have few, but um, to wrap it up, I would say first socks, then the
Yeah, which
shoes.
is absolutely the correct answer. So it is. No, look, thank you very much for joining us. Is there anything that you want to plug, send people towards before we finish off?
Well, it would be brilliant if people continue to follow the journey, the naked journey,
Hmm.
and yeah, the more feedback we get, the bigger the impact will be. So, and if it's not on a hockey pitch, I would say continue to live life naked and chase your dreams.
Well said. Well said. Look, thank you very much, everybody, for watching. If you want to leave comments below on what your favorite moment is, or how well you like the naked sticks, absolutely go and do that. And if you definitely don't want to watch my face, which is understandable, you can listen to us on Apple Podcast and on Spotify. But just to wrap it all up, thank you very much again, Felix, for joining us, and have a good rest of your day.
Cheers! Thanks for the invite.